Hello everybody and welcome to Frere Rugby Sports for today's preview. It is the Griquas versus the Pumas tomorrow, and for the first time, when was the last time both these sides are coming off victories? The Griquas with a resounding thumping of the EP Elephants, which is probably not that impressive when you compare that to the very, very impressive victory that the Pumas had over the Cheetahs last week, where Eddie Fisher was just on a whole different level. Pretty much scoring all the points for the Pumas. So it should be quite an interesting match, actually. And during the tournament, the Pumas have had the edge over the Griquas. Griquas haven't sort of been playing, some decent rugby. Look, Griquas are always a difficult side to beat. And a lot of that's got to do with going to Kimberly. It's a very rough field. It's a very hard surface. It gets very hot there. It's a difficult place to travel. And, the Griquas having trained there, they're so acclimatized to it that is often sort of the hidden gem in their arsenal is the fact that they've got that home ground advantage, which should definitely play into their favor. So I think we should be in for quite an interesting game. They'll take a lot of confidence over that win against the Elephants, whereas the Pumas finally put in that sort of 80-minute performance that we keep talking about. We've seen the Pumas push sides right to the edge, the likes of the Stormers, the Lions, even the Bulls to a certain degree. It's a very good side. But they just haven't been able to put in a complete performance and over the entire 80 minutes, which is why they've sort of fallen a bit flat a couple of times. But yeah, before we look at the teams themselves, please do smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Some very interesting news. We had the Rainbow Cup fixtures being announced today. So, go check out a video on that as well. Very interesting to see when sort of the South African teams are going to be hosting. Will not be hosting any sides, but they will be going over to Europe to play in at least 3 rounds of rugby and hopefully finals and stuff like that. But in terms of this game, it is a 3 o'clock kickoff at Tafelberg Park. And the teams are as follows. So the Griquas are relatively unchanged. They've been sticking to a lot of sort of continuity. And I think if you look at the side, it's probably one of the strongest sides I've seen them put out. A lot of their sort of, especially that backline, quite a settled backline. It's taken them a while to kind of sort of work out who their best players are. Obviously still missing the likes of Zach Berger, but Stefan Unger has filled in his place and will even be captaining this weekend. So if we look at Mark Colley, who's been getting better and better. He was man of the match a couple of weeks ago. Really starting to put in some very good performances. Alandre Van Nooren and Andrew Skitter are the rest of the front row. RJ Smith, Cameron Lindsay, a nice, tried and tested long combination. They're very solid. Kenny Van der Merwe, for me, I think is someone who's probably pushing for a move to a better side. Has a knack of scoring tries, works very hard, loves the breakdown, loves the physical aspect of it, relishes that whole sort of battle. He's a very important player for them. Stefan Willemse and Carl Els are the rest of the loose trio. As I said, Stefan Unger will lead the side. Tennis de Beer has been past fit and will start at flower half. He's been growing in stature as the more he plays for the Griquas, so very interested to see how he gets on again. Probably also a player who I think will probably be eyeing eventually move back to the likes of the Bulls or another sort of Premier Cup side. Very talented youngster there. James Verity is on the wing. He'll partner Daniel Casenda on the other wing. The two centers are Andre Swart and on loan center Michael Hasner from the Western Province. And then Masikola Banda will start at full back. On the bench, AJ Lewis, Andrew Bierwinkel, Tilly Visser, Ivan Kutsia, Siva Wola Koma, Ashlon Davids, Jonathan Frankie, and Enver Brandt will provide cover. And then for the Pumas, well, Jimmy Stonehouse has made my life nice and interesting. And he hasn't actually named the side yet. He's only named a traveling squad. And he's only going to decide on exactly who's playing and who's playing where after the captain's run, which is today, Friday. But most of the usual suspects are there. So expect big games from the likes of Ali Imgajima. Peter Janssen from Furen's very solid. Billy Engelbrecht's a fantastic player to watch. Pumzile Makondwana is a very nice player to watch. Wayne van der Bank has had very sort of in and out. He's had some very good games. Sometimes been left out. Eric Cornier, Eddie Fisher, as we said, was fantastic the other day. So there's some very good players in this Puma side. Dial Maritz and Gittis Mats has been pretty solid. Tapio from Afu has been pretty solid. So again, we don't know how the team's going to line up, but one sort of expects it'll probably be sort of the usual sort of try and taste. They were looking at this and thinking we can end this on a win. We got to win against the Cheetahs. We can get another win over the Griquas. That's actually been a fairly solid preparation series, even though they don't even know what they're actually preparing for because there's been no sort of confirmation of the sort of local, Super Sport Challenge or whatever that's going to happen. But just another opportunity for these players to take the field, to try and impress, try and sort of maybe look for bigger moves or whatever, and it's another opportunity, to sort of demonstrate that they are a side that should be taken seriously. I think that's the important thing for them and the Griquas. Let's extend to the EP Elephants because they've got a long way to go. But these sides need to prove to SA Rugby that they are important and worth investing in so that we can start to establish a local competition which will foster competition across the sides, and be able to provide a platform for the Pumas to be able to bring in better players, more talent, younger talent, to try and sort of build up a bit of an academy, and players can know. And I think there's definitely a lot of value in going to Pumas or Griquas, because you can stay in the junior setups of your Lions, Bulls, Sharks, but the problem is that unless you really are going to make it, often you'll stay in the setup, you'll play under 21s, and then you've obviously got to try and make a step up, and there will be 2 or 3 players in front of you in the senior side because they've got very big squads. Also, the problem is they've got the money to bring in someone from externally to replace you. Whereas if you go to the Pumas, as a 21-year-old, for example, you can go straight into that starting lineup, and suddenly you're playing against the Bulls, against the Lions, you're applying your trade against the best players around. And that can get you really noticed. I think something like Willie Engelbrecht was on the Lions books a couple of years ago for Super Rugby. Never really featured, and he's been very impressive. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see him making a move. So they've got those opportunities to try and sort of play quite often and sort of get themselves more into the public eye. So it's always an interesting sort of route to take. Someone like Zach Berger has now got to move to Bulls. That was just a standard, really good Super Rugby unlocked, really good Currie Cup. Now he's playing for the Bulls and is going to be playing for the Bulls in the Rainbow Cup. And that's why it needs to be sort of this pathway, this sort of pipeline, where we can see more players be on our screen. And that's like, for example, the Varsity Cup, Varsity Shield happening soon. And we'll definitely be looking at a bit of that. Just being able to put themselves out there and try and work their way to make a bid for higher teams. Unfortunately, it's not going to be anyone's sort of highest ambition to play for the Pumas, the Griquas. You don't make the Springboks playing for them. That's just the reality. Look, you can get to a stage, and you want to get to a stage where you can just have a side which is so good and really challenging that you're going to say, well, you know what? That's a good player. He's playing well against other big sides. This team's playing well. He's a big part of that. He could potentially be international quality. But at this stage, it's not the case. None of these players are going to make the Springboks whilst they're at the Pumas. If any of these players harbor those sort of ambitions, they have to work their way into a better side, and then they have to make sure that they're one of the best players in that side. But it should be quite a good game. I'm going to go with the Pumas. I think they will have the edge on the Griquas. I know it's always a tough place to go and travel, but I think this Pumas side is playing with so much confidence. They play such a nice, positive brand of rugby. I do see them getting the job done over the Griquas, regardless of what side Jimmy Stonehouse actually puts out. Let me know what your score predictions are in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Do subscribe if you are new. My name is Steven, and as always, I'll chat to you very soon.